G'day, it's Jo. I'm here to talk to you about International Women's Day today. Now, this is a day that we want to, first of all, celebrate. We want to think about women that we know or admire, and we want to shout out how much we appreciate them and support them. So I encourage you today, as you celebrate International Women's Day, would you post up on social media some of the things that you admire about people in your life, or people that are leaders in our community that have made an impact on you, women that have really sown into your lives, whether they're far or near. I want you today to celebrate by supporting International Women's Day events, if there's any in your local area. Another thing we want to do on International Women's Day is to highlight issues. We want to highlight both things that aren't going well and things that are going well. For instance, things that are going well are the fact that the Salvation Army has been functioning for 150 years with women in leadership and in ministry. So that's something that is quite unusual around the world. Women in the Salvation Army have been able to be ministers before they could even vote in many nations. That's amazing. I want to celebrate today that in Australia, our Chief Secretary and the Assistant Chief Secretary are both women. So well done, and keep leading and leading well, ladies, in leadership in the Salvos. Great stuff. There are also things that we need to highlight, are things that need to change. For instance, throughout this COVID pandemic around the world, there has been an increase in domestic violence. They call it a shadow pandemic of domestic violence around the world. So this is something that we need to make sure that we're addressing in our communities, that people know that it is never okay for abuse to continue in our world, for women to feel oppressed in their own homes. So we need to make sure that there's opportunity for us to highlight these issues so that we can make change in our world. There are things on International Women's Day that we need to address. We need to make sure that we are each and everyone educating ourselves about women's rights around the world. In Australia, we think that things are not so bad. There are things that we can still change, but in other nations around the world, women are suffering, women are oppressed, women do not have equal rights to men, and that is something that we need to make sure on special days like this that we think of and we educate ourselves about. I think that today we can also address within ourselves how it is that we connect with women on our own personal journey. I'm thinking specifically about how we educate ourselves. What speakers do you listen to? What books do you read? What authors are you buying books from in these days? Check your podcast list. Check your bookshelf. Do you have women authors and women speakers that are sowing into your lives as well as men? Because often we find that in these areas, women are far less represented. That's something that you can easily do today. And finally, I would like us, when we're addressing these injustices for women around the world, perhaps today you would like to look into and find a charity that specifically addresses areas where women are suffering around the world. When we think about things that I can connect with in the Salvation Army, I think of in Western Australia, we have women's refuges. We have the Graceful Refuge, and in Karratha we also have women's refuges as well. So we can support them in WA. We have seen in recent years Making It Happen projects for Alice Springs, the Waterhole project, where Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women are helped through a drop-in centre that provides for their needs and cares for them. So I wonder, what are the women's projects that you can sow in today financially? And perhaps maybe you want to highlight them on your social media newsfeed as well. Well, I want to finalise this video here by just saying thank you to all of the amazing women that are doing great work around the world to support other women. For the women that are standing up and speaking about injustice, for women that are encouraging and serving other women, for women that are just being who God has created them to be, and that in itself stands as a testament to what it is that God wants to do through women in this world. I want to encourage you and pray for you today, and I ask that God would bless the women around the world that are seeking to make a difference in their nations, in their denominations, in their churches, in their families, in the world. would God bless you today, and happy International Women's Day to you all. Get on with it. Let's go do something. See ya.